Welcome back for another video. Non-stop FPL right now. In this one we're going to look at how the team's shaping up for Gameweek16. Decisions to make with an injury to deal with and benching dilemmas. Starting with a quick look at how Gameweek15 went, having just wrapped up at the time of recording. 33 points all out, pretty poor, but a small red arrow surprisingly to 247k, so a drop of 20k places. If you were tuned into the deadline stream, there was some last minute anarchy when it suddenly occurred to me that starting Maguire with Pinnock was something I'd completely overlooked and certainly an option. We ran a poll and the results were about 50-50. In the end, left Pinnock in, as last minute decisions can often backfire. I can say that's happened to me a lot before, especially with the pressure of thousands watching anyway. Got away with it in the end, no Simicast, and then Maguire auto subbed on who got an assist. Some jammy bench points admittedly. I had a comment on this morning's video from someone who had McTominay auto subbing on, outrageous. So Salah and Haaland both blanked. That's only happened twice before this season, and one of those was that VAR blunder week for Salah's assist. Saka picked up an assist in the dramatic 4-3 win away to Luton, and Mbeumo scored from the spot. He rolled his ankle that match, and as we're all aware by now, he went off injured. We've had an update from Frank, who said, "It is bad, we'll have a scan later, but we don't know the exact number of weeks he'll be out. He will definitely not play on Saturday against Sheffield United, and he will be out for weeks. We'll know more in the next couple of days." So nothing from Dubravka, who conceded 3 to Everton. He actually played fine, I thought, despite the goals conceded. He couldn't do much about them. 2 big mistakes from Trippier for 2 of the goals. He was even on for bonus before the first goal went in. Newcastle looked absolutely knackered. They clearly ran themselves into the ground in the Man United game, and no real options off the bench for Howe. Lascelles came off grimacing, not sure if it was a dead leg or an injury there. One big surprise was Aurier not being in the West Ham squad at all. Fabianski played, a reported wrist injury. Unclear how long he's out, whether it was just for one match as a precaution. Glad to make the keeper transfer though, even if it was only a couple of points gained. The transfer made ended up a bit of a weaker one as a consequence. It was Aurier out for Dubravka. It was a calculated risk that allowed me to keep Gordon, and it also freed up enough money to upgrade Kabore to a 4.5 mil defender. Otherwise Gordon would have had to leave the team later to fund better defenders. As it's happened, Mbeumo will need to leave the team anyway, so we won't get the Dubravka and Aurier rotation. Hopefully there will be a week where the extra 0.3 mil comes in handy. It certainly does allow Kabore to replace by any defender 6 mil or less, which is big. There's nothing worse than looking at a transfer you like and then realising you're 0.1 mil short. Watkins got booked in Villa's win over City, but happy with him after last week's points, and owning him at least is a move ahead of those without him. Let's run through the team for Gameweek16, transfer plans and captaincy. Dubravka's away to Spurs, who since going top of the Premier League have 1 point in their last 5. The only fixture over the next block of 5 that Aurier might have actually started in was this week, with West Ham away to Fulham, who in fairness have just put 5 past Forest, so perhaps both concede. I'm hoping he can have a good December to put it beyond all doubt that Newcastle don't need to dip into the transfer market. We know from Howe's comments that that's the intention currently. In defence it's Pinnock, Simicast and Maguire. Saliba drops to the bench. Interested to know if those of you of Arsenal defenders are considering the same this week. It's Maguire who comes into the team, who's home to Bournemouth off the back of a great result beating Chelsea. Man United not exactly a solid defence though, although sure is a massive return for them. Bournemouth are on a run of 10 points from a possible 12 over their last 4. Aston Villa racked up 2.06 expected goals against Man City. They took 22 shots. There's definite logic to benching Arsenal defenders for Gameweek16 if you can. Pinnock's away to Sheffield United with decent clean sheet chances. He's 3rd for expected goals among defenders this season, and Sheffield United's 312 aerial duels lost ranks worst in the league, so manifesting a Pinnock bullet header. Brentford have been given a 37.5% chance of a clean sheet for this one. Only Man City have got a higher chance for Gameweek16. After a complete rest midweek, it's safe to say Simicast starts away to Palace, so he's an easy one to start this week, and then Selling's a consideration. We knew he'd be benched in one of these 2 games, and at least he didn't come on for a cameo. For Gameweek16, Liverpool are 4th in the clean sheet odds with a 36% chance. The midfield is Mbeumo, Son, Saka, Gordon and Salah. So given the injury, Mbeumo has to go this week. As Frank says, he's out for weeks, but at least he got part and gift for us owners with a penalty. If we end up with a double Gameweek20 announcement after all, it's going to be an interesting situation, as you'd love to have him back, but you need to sell him straight away as he leaves for AFCON before Gameweek21. It does look like double Gameweek20 is unlikely now, so it might be a later game week. Hwang, Palmer, Sterling, lots of ways to go with the replacement, more on that later. Son's home to Newcastle, and it's a midfielder versus keeper this week, which is never ideal. It would have looked even worse if Saliba was playing against Watkins' mind. Son's 94 points this season ranks 4th among all players. After Newcastle, he's got an unbelievable run of games, with Forest, Everton, Brighton and Bournemouth. If you're looking for a cheap and boomer replacement, Johnson's another one that's flown under the radar for 5.8 mil. That said, I'd rank him after Palmer and Hwang at the moment, but by no means a bad pick. Saka travels to the fortress that is Villa Park. Villa would move a point behind Arsenal with a win here, which is testament to what an unbelievable job Emery's done. It's really hard to predict how this one's going to go. It could be a cagey low-scoring match, which won't suit Saka particularly, nor Watkins in fact. Gordon's away to Spurs, his ownership shooting up at the moment off the back of Mbeumo's injury. The template's very strong at the moment, but as always it's going to shift throughout the season. I do think there's many good Mbeumo replacements, but it is hard to ignore him given those upcoming fixtures. He has looked a bit knackered recently, which is understandable as Newcastle have got no real depth right now and having to play a lot more than Howard would want them to be playing. This is a graphic from Lego Manic which shows the fixture ticker for all teams across all competitions. The problem with Newcastle is that they're one of 3 teams with the least rest. They've got midweek games for the entire month of December. Liverpool and West Ham are the other 2 teams that are going to play midweek and weekends for the whole month. So although he's got Fulham, Luton and Nottingham Forest in his next 4, unfortunately he's also got a big game against AC Milan in the Champions League, and he's got Chelsea away in the League Cup quarter-finals. Salah's away to Palace this week. There is a temptation to give him the armband. Palace are in dire form at the moment and they're missing Mitchell, who Salah would have been up against. It could be Klein in left back. Let us know in the comments who your captain is going to be, Haaland, Salah or someone else. Liverpool have got another midweek game as we mentioned. They're away in Europa League next week. I'm expecting Salah to get a rest in that one, either a benching or early substitution. Liverpool are certainly in the title race at the moment, so the league's got to be a priority for Klopp. They definitely need to make a couple of signings in the January window though. I think a centre-back's the priority, and maybe a midfielder. So it's Watkins and Haaland as the front 2 again. This season Watkins has taken 45 shots, only Haaland's taken more with 58. 44 of those 45 inside the box. You'd be surprised if Villa don't score in current form, hence Saliba drops to the bench. Haaland gets the armband, Salah vice captain. The goal scorer probabilities aren't even close this week. Haaland's top with a 61% chance of scoring any time against Luton, and then it's Salah with a 44% chance. Darwin third by the way, 42.5% chance. Looks certain to start after a rest midweek, so it could be a great week for those of you with him if he can finally take his chances. Son's been given a 38.5% chance, and that's it concerning players in my team. On the bench it's Turner, Saliba, Archer and Kabore. Let's get straight into transfer plans. It's pretty straightforward this week, and Mbeumo has to go, so it's who to bring in for him. Sticking with the same plan from the transfer plans video, so it's Palmer that comes in. This frees up 1.7 mil, which will go a long way. It leaves the door open for Kabore to Pedro Porro in Gameweek 17. He got an assist in the West Ham game, taking corners and set pieces. He really should have had a second assist as well. He put a header on a plate for Richarlison who somehow missed. Super attacking defender, he's nailed, and he's got a run of games from Gameweek 17 of Forest, Everton, Brighton and Bournemouth. Let us know in the comments how you got on and what your plans are for Gameweek 16. 40% of you aren't subscribed, so if you'd like to follow the weekly content on this channel, hit the subscribe button. See you soon for the next one.